Hey YouTube family, I am so excited to be here today talking to you about my ultimate favorite, book writing. As you guys know, I love talking about book writing. I love helping people write books, and I love being really strategic about the process in general. So I'm really excited to share the information that I am going to share with you today. So one of the questions that I always get is, how can I publish a book on a budget? And that's a huge question, because if you Google, how can I publish a book in an inexpensive way, they're going to estimate that your book can cost somewhere between $2,000 to $10,000. And do not get me wrong, I have a couple of my books that have cost me in the thousand mark, a couple of them actually, and they turned out wonderful. But now that I've figured out the process and I've just really structured it in a way that I can support people wherever they are at, I have learned some great tips and strategies to help you to publish your book on a budget. So the first thing I want to share is that one of the best and most effective ways to publish your book with a little bit of money is that you want to go the self-publishing route. Now, traditional publishing route is also an alternative that you can do, where you don't often have a lot of the upfront costs. But if you ever do hybrid publishing, meaning it's like a traditional route mixed with a self-publishing route, with hybrid publishing, they often ask for money up front. So I did hybrid publishing with one of my books, and there was a lot of upfront costs that I had to give. With self-publishing, you don't have those upfront costs because you're doing all of the work. You're not paying for the marketer, you're not paying for the graphic designer, you're not paying for the editor, you're not doing any of that up front. And so that really helps to save you costs, because you can sort of prep for those costs as they come. So my first step is I would choose the self-publishing route. If that's something that you really desire to publish on a budget, self-publishing is definitely the way to go. The second thing that I'd like to share is, if you do choose this self-publishing route, you can choose to buy an ISBN, or you can choose not to buy an ISBN. Now, every book needs an ISBN, and I have tons of videos about that, so definitely check out my other videos. But you can choose to buy an ISBN and register it to you, or if you choose that, you say you don't have the extra $125 that it costs you to buy an ISBN, what you would do is you would want to publish on CreateSpace. And CreateSpace right now is the only self-publishing platform that will give you a free ISBN. And they give you an ISBN that is unique to them. So it sort of limits where all you can sell your book. But the place that CreateSpace publishes to is Amazon. And that's the #1 book buying online platform. So it's not like you're only selling it on this one website that nobody's ever heard of. You're selling it on one of the world's biggest markets. So that is a wonderful alternative to save yourself $125 alone. I personally have not used CreateSpace ISBNs, but I do have clients who choose to go that route, and that is okay too. The second thing is, you want to make sure that you are finding a high quality editor. Now, you could go on Fiverr, or you could go on a bunch of different websites, and you can go on Grammarly and plug in your book. And yes, it will edit for punctuation. Yes, it will edit for grammar, but it will not edit for flow. And the most important thing that you want it to edit for is, you want your book to edit for the way that it reads to your ideal reader. You want your book to be very self-explanatory as they're reading. You want it to feel like they're in the moment. You want it to be relatable to them. And the best way to do that is to hire a developmental editor. And this is someone who really takes your story and develops it and gives it the flow that it needs, so that it markets directly to your person. Now, finding a developmental editor for an inexpensive price can be really difficult. And so these are one of the things that I want to tell you you don't want to skimp out on. Because if you publish your book and you don't have an editor, it will show. The people will be able to pick up on the grammar that is wrong. It won't necessarily read very well. And so to change some of that, you can start to think of different ways or creative ways that you can find someone that can edit. So for example, I worked at a school, and so I had my language arts teacher edit my book, and she is an editor on the side. So she gave me a really good price and edited a book for me. Now, she's only done one book because she's extremely busy and I publish a ton of books. So I have a wonderful editor on my team who I'm happy to refer you to, but that was a creative pursuit that I chose. You could also choose local colleges and try to find people that are maybe going for writing or things like that, and maybe they're willing to edit your book for a low price. So that is an alternative for you. The third thing is, you are going to need to invest in a graphic designer. Yes, it is possible that you can create your own graphics. And yes, for those of you that are naturally graphic designers or naturally creatives, go for it. Like, that will save you a ton of money. But for people like me who have no vision when it comes to things like that, that is something that you will have to invest in, and it will cost you some money. Now, one of the things that I have done is I have worked with people to find people that they have had edit books before and ask them questions about, what do you think the price should be? How much did you pay for this? And now, as a 6-time author, so I have 6 books, 1 journal, and 1 planner. And I've also collaborated in 2 different books and working on my 3rd one. I have worked with tons of graphic designers. And so I have a couple of people that I found to work very well for me. For example, I found a Fiverr seller who did one of my graphics. I'll show the book to you, actually, as we're chatting. So I had a Fiverr seller who did this journal. This is my journal. It's the Gift of Gratitude. And it didn't need to be all elaborate, right? I just wanted it to be really something serene and peaceful. And people are journaling about gratitude. And this book cover was only $35. And so it doesn't look as detailed as some of my other books, but I didn't necessarily need it to look that detailed. I had an idea of what I wanted. I wrote it to the seller, and they were able to do that. So you can find different ways to be strategic. Now, I want to be also very honest about that and very upfront and open. I also did that with another book where I paid a seller on Fiverr, and it looked like my 4-year-old drew the cover. And actually, my 4-year-old probably could have drawn a better cover for me. So you also want to be careful about taking that risk, because you could end up losing money. I've given probably 3 or 4 designers chances on Fiverr and had terrible experiences. And so you want to be really careful about wasting money too, because by the time you pay for 3 or 4 book covers, you could have paid a really good graphic designer and gotten it done. So start being really strategic and thinking about it. Another thing that I did is my uncle, he went to school for graphic design. He's a police officer now, but he does graphic design on the side. He's also very busy, but he did my very first book for me because I was trying to write a book on a budget. So be really strategic. If you know people that are qualified to do something like that and could help you, don't be scared to ask. And of course, if you need to ask that from me, please feel free to do that as well. The next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are marketing your book. A lot of people want to hire a PR specialist or a marketing specialist or different companies to market the book. And if you have the budget to do it, please be my guest. Like, I would love for you to do that. Your book can really succeed. But if you don't, you want to really start thinking of marketing strategies that you are comfortable with implementing on your own. This could mean on social media, local places. And basically, in order to do that, you want to be really confident about your book. You want to know what your book has to offer other people, and you want to constantly talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you build the hype around it. So talk about it on your social media status. Talk about it in Facebook groups. Talk about it at your local grocery store. Talk about it at church. Talk about it if you run into somebody randomly. Talk, talk, talk. And that starts to build the hype. And you can also just start Googling creative marketing strategies. I also teach these in all of my courses. So you are more than welcome to talk with me. I have a marketing course alone that will save you hundreds of dollars, but there's a lot of tips and strategies you can implement that I have used and I've used with my clients to put our books in positions to succeed, to have extra streams of income from our books, to become bestsellers, to market it in a way that it speaks to other people and do things like that. So don't feel like you necessarily have to go out and hire somebody. There are creative ways that you can market your book yourself. And then let me check my notes because I don't want to be off. Those were basically all of the strategies, because a lot of times people walk into this and they already are willing to give up on the book writing idea before it's even started. Just with the idea or the thought process about the possibility of what it could cost, they're ready to give up. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to give up on the idea, because when I published my first book, I was broke. I had no money to my name. And I want to be really frank with you. I want to say I published my very first book with under $400. It might have even been less than that. I published my very first book with under $300. I bought an ISBN, which was $125. My uncle did my cover, and I think I paid $200 for an editor. And so I paid a total of $300 for that book. And I got it published, and I made $300 back within the first week. And so I don't want you to be scared or run away from the idea. There are a lot of ways that you can be very strategic or very creative or innovative to implement different strategies and steps or ideas into your life so that you are able to get your book published. published. So I'm grateful that we are connected. Of course, if you have questions or comments or even feedback for me that you think will be beneficial, or that I can help answer or bring sense to, please share that with me, because I want to make sure that I am supporting you on your book writing journey and bringing your book ideas into something of reality. So I am so excited for you guys. I'm excited that you are taking this step, and I look forward to seeing the book that you will produce. So have a wonderful day, YouTube family. Bye, guys.